The average day for a street outreach worker is we do street outreach. So we're on the streets, we respond to community calls. We're also connected with the radio link radio, which is connected to security personnel in downtown Minneapolis. And we respond to individuals who are sleeping outside, individuals engaging in panhandling, or individuals experiencing homelessness where citizens or the business community are concerned about. So eventually we have like a lot of detox calls, connections to shelter, emergency shelter at night, and just sometimes it's just basic engagement with individuals to figure out what got them there and how can we get them out and what are their needs, on any given day. With the funding that the DMNA gave us, we would be able to fund another street outreach worker. And what that means is someone on the streets 40 hours a week. And the outcomes of that are individuals being housed and individuals connecting to services. I like to look at it collectively. So you add another street outreach worker to our team, that equates to another 20 people being housed. Our team averages about 120 folks being housed a year. And when in comparison to nationwide street outreach teams, we do phenomenal work. There's other street outreach teams that do great work and they gauge success by housing 10 or 15 people a year. So if you can kind of see where we're at. And in Minneapolis, we're dealing with the second worst housing market in the country. And our team not only engages with that individual, we engage with landlords in the community and really advocate on that person's behalf, so you're not seeing that person sleeping in PV Plaza, you're not seeing that person sleeping down at the library. They have their own couch to sleep on and living their own life and moving on to self-sufficiency. So those are the benefits of adding street outreach in Minneapolis. Call our number and be part of our program. We have a very small team. We cannot do this work without the assistance of the residents and employees in downtown, the individuals that come down to downtown Minneapolis for entertainment. A lot of our calls come from just concerned citizens. And when we're able to walk up to somebody who's sitting on the street panhandling, you have hundreds of people walking by, and we're able to say, a concerned citizen called about you. They're concerned about your situation. If you think about that individual who's panhandling, having 100 people walking by and not looking them in the eye and not acknowledging them, by telling them that it was someone other than a police officer, it was someone other than a security personnel, or it was someone other than an outreach worker, it was a citizen of Minneapolis that reached out to us and asked for us to come down because they were worried about you. I've seen grown men cry because they would say to me, I'm sitting here, no one's looking at me, I feel invisible. And that call helped change that person's life. It was the catalyst for change because they're not invisible, someone's concerned for them, and it prompted this individual to work with us a little closer. So what we need is the help of the business community, the residents in downtown, to assist us in our work, because we could not do it without extra eyes and ears on the streets, and that's what we do. So it's a coalition of very concerned citizens and folks in Minneapolis that help us.
This is the 12th year of this successful relationship. It's a three-legged relationship. It's the police department itself, the citizens, and the business community. The business community, it all started when this area was developed. Where we're standing now used to be Swanberg and Sheafy used car lot. And as this got developed into housing and to the more modern era, we went to the developer and said, hey, how about funding a police substation? Can you give us the space? We will pay for the furniture, the upkeep, we just need some space. We had done some substations before, but it was always in a vacant space. We moved here and there. We wanted a permanent presence for the police department. We picked this location because it was being developed. was opportunity. And Jim Surtick and April Jabbar and I, we saw this opportunity. Ted Tucker from the Marcy Homes neighborhood, we said, let's go talk to this developer and give them our idea. Maybe they can help. And they saw the vision as well. It's no secret that the entryway to the apartment building is right next to us. What a safe and secure environment to be a tenant. Well, what has happened here as this neighborhood has grown, the crime has decreased. It's opposite. Usually when the neighborhood grows, the crime increases. But because of the presence of Elliot Wong and the night beats, we do some buyback. Part of our fundraising, we hire police to work at night, and it just suppresses the crime immensely. Criminals do not want to be in a neighborhood where people talk to each other, where there's a police presence. Visibility equals livability.
I think the impact that having a substation in downtown East will really benefit not only the businesses, but the residents and the visitors. So that way we get really a bond between the Minneapolis Police Department and the people that visit, the people that live there, and the people that work there. In talking with Councilmember Fry, we're talking about putting the substation in what is called Block 1, which currently is, they're talking about the parking garage and potentially an apartment building above that. And so we're looking at one of the corners, so to say, or one of the sides of that building, which is really convenient because it's near the stadium, it's on the park, and so it just has a lot of great attributes of that location.
Within our survey, we asked one question. If you have children, do you plan on living downtown while sending your children to school? And we found that 48% said yes, 35% were unsure, and 19% said no. So we were pretty confident that if we had a school downtown, most families would be favorable to staying there and sending their kids to this brand new school.
I see Webster as a challenging, engaging, invigorating environment for kids, but not only for kids, but for the staff and for their families and their parents and community members. I really want it to be a place where people come to learn and grow together. And I particularly want to see it as John Dewey said, as school as life, so that we're not preparing children for just life after school, but that when they're in school, they're truly living life as people contributing to their community, whether it's the school community or it's the broader community that they live in. In addition to that, I think it's really important that we look at the whole child, so we'll work to develop the whole child, so socially, academically, emotionally, all of those areas of their development so that they can be healthy individuals. And when I say healthy individuals, I want them to feel like they're, one, valued in their community, but also seen as somebody who can contribute in their community and be a part of that, making their community a success. So two ways that people can get involved in a more systematic way are we'll develop a site council for the school in the late spring, and we have to wait till we have some enrollment to get the site council started, but we'll have a site council where people will be part of the decision-making process at the school. And then in addition, I hope to get a PTA started sooner than later. The PTA can be a great place to help us bring in businesses in the community that can help support the school, donate money or services or goods that will help us create wonderful, engaging community events that people will want to attend and get to know about the school and then get more involved.
We've formed a new group called Downtown Families Minneapolis, and we have a website called downtownfamiliesmpls.org. If you know of a family or are a family yourself and you want to connect to families downtown, have an issue that you want our group to advocate on behalf of for you, please go to this website, contact us, let us know you're out there, like our Facebook page. We also have the Downtown Families Minneapolis Facebook page. Get involved with our community. We're heavily involved with schools, housing issues, crime issues in downtown Minneapolis. If you're a family, contact us.
So our mission, which actually we just recently restated, is to create an extraordinary downtown. And I think the vision behind that is to make sure that Minneapolis continues in its place as a real leader, not only nationally, but increasingly from an international perspective as the economy is global and as we try to create an environment here where our large companies can thrive and small businesses can thrive along with them, and that we're growing the residential population. So we see a great future for Minneapolis, and we want to set the bar high, so that notion of extraordinary is what we're aiming for. A couple things that come to mind is that we've been partnering really for the last couple of years, I think very effectively with the city of Minneapolis to redo the Nicollet Mall. That whole conversation started as a result of the Downtown Council's 2025 plan, which has 10 goals for the future of downtown, one of which is to recreate Nicollet Mall as a must-see destination. So with that as a starting point, we've reached out to the city, formed a very effective partnership, worked closely with them and the state legislature to secure state funding for the mall redo, $50 million budget, $21.5 million will be coming from the state. Working very hard with their design team to have an extraordinary design for the mall, working with the property owners up and down the mile length of the mall to make sure they're fully engaged in the conversation about a design, working to put in place an assessment downtown to help pay for that $50 million investment along with the state dollars and some city funds. So really hand in glove working with the city to redo Nicollet Mall, to meet that test of being a must-see destination and have it open by the end of 2016, about the time the new Viking Stadium opens. So that's certainly one thing that I think we're being very effective on, and we'll see what the results are, but I think so far the progress has been great. The other thing that's also pretty recent, and this as well stems from the 2025 plan, is to set up a downtown-focused open space or parks conservancy, an organization that can work with public or private owners to step in and help manage, maintain, program, fundraise for more open space downtown, which is certainly one of our goals, is to make downtown a greener, more pleasing place from a public realm standpoint. And this conservancy, a new organization that we are in the process of setting up, can be, I think, an important player in helping us achieve that goal. It may have a role, for instance, with the new downtown East Park. It may have a role with PB Plaza. All of that is yet to be determined, but the first step is to set up the organization, create the capacity, and we're in the process of doing that. So I think that's another exciting recent development at the Downtown Council.
There are many opportunities and also challenges. As we're looking at the development task force for the 2025 plan, we're tracking retail, we're tracking parks and greening, we're tracking wayfinding and signage and transportation, and all of those pieces, you could argue, are at a deficit right now. And as we're investing in working with the city to create toolkits so that these parking lots can become meaningful density, all of those pieces need work. We're just getting started with greening, and we're grateful for some of the small businesses that have invested in side street and micro parks and greening, like the Friends of Triangle Park and Elliott Park. Spoon River, who has invested along with the neighbors in that streetscape on the street in front of the Guthrie and the restaurant of Spoon River, that takes everyone's work, including the DMNA. Well, now we have to do that times like 1,000, because there is 16 contiguous blocks being built with a stadium and a park. How do we make that so it's home, not just host? We know it's host. We know that the tens of millions that are going to come to those spaces will bring economic vitality, but it's our home. So how do we create softer edges so that those who live here can participate in that? So for me, I think the challenges are understanding what it means to be a resident here who's partnering with playing host as well. Engaging the community is important to me personally, as well as being the executive director of the East Downtown Council. Personally, I live here, and so I'm walking and biking every day, and I enjoy the spaces that the DMNA residents consider home. And so I find that our relevancy to the residents in the DMNA is the multi-organizational meetings that we convene, in which we are bringing together residents and business and civic leaders about development that's taking place, also how we're going to build community, getting input on things that are done, and that way we are paying attention to what it means to deal with livability factors as well as civic aspirations. The second way that we're going to engage is being able to include actual leaders from the DMNA and residents in the development work. So they're participating in the small group work, in the open houses and workshops, such that the residents are in themselves contributing and participating with businesses and leaders in the development work. And we hope that will not only continue, but continue to grow as our downtown population of residents grows to 40, 50, 60, and 70,000 people, shaping the economic vitality of the built environment.